But before we move ahead to the home of the All-Star game this year, it's time to talk about the Orioles All-Star starter with our own Roch Kubatko, joining me almost a mile up, as high as the Nationals go here in Texas. What a great afternoon for Ryan OHearn.
Every time I hear brilliantly boring, I think how people signed my yearbook in high school, but I digress. It really is a great day for Ryan. Isn't it terrific when good things happen to good people? That is still possible. And, you know, teammates are just as happy as he is. They were just as disappointed as he was last year. And that really struck me. A lot of these guys play it down like, hey, it'd be nice if I get it, if not, whatever. He really, really wanted this. And that smile didn't leave his face through that interview when we saw him on the field. And it is a great story, as you were kind of recapping, for a guy that really got off to a great start with the Royals as a rookie. And then it was like a steep and rapid decline to where it looked like his career was fading, which is why he never thought this moment was going to happen. And to be able to get him for cash, DFA him 2 days later for the immortal Lewin Diaz, or was it Lewin Diaz? It's been so long I don't even remember how to pronounce it. And he was outrighted, and then he got caught up. He was optioned again. He had to get back on the 40-man, and here we are now. He's hitting the middle of the lineup for a team that's made the playoffs back-to-back years. So it's a tremendous story, and he, it really says a lot too to the hitting program here and how it can unlock something in a lot of guys who are struggling. He's one of the prime examples, which is why he said coming here was life-changing. Not just career-wise, but just life-changing and what it's going to mean to him. And, maybe some bad news here, but he's getting a lot of interest on the trade market now, as you would understand. He's a pending free agent. But this day is about him being an all-star with the Orioles.
Yeah, he's told us a time or two how much he feels at home here. He doesn't want to go anywhere, which I think is just always such a nod to how close-knit these guys are. Some guys will look at it as maybe if I get traded, it's better for me, but I think you recognize how special it is. Like you said, he had a complete turnaround coming here for the orange and black. And we love having him because no matter what's going on with his team, he's always easy to talk to and always the first available. Let's take a look, though, at Gary Sanchez and what Scott Behringer and Mark Shires and Tony Mansolino are probably taking a big exhale right now, because we did find out he is okay.
Yeah, this is how bad things are with the Orioles. When you end up with swelling in the finger, that's considered good news. It wasn't a fracture, so they were like celebrating that point. And, there were 3 wild pitches thrown by Gregory Soto last night, so that we got a little dangerous out there. But, he came back to the dugout and said, you might need somebody to hit for me. And we saw him on the cart with the trainer going to get, the finger x-rayed. So the good news is he avoided the IL, so we're still stuck at 24 players who have been on it this year and 14 currently. I had written in my notes, Chadwick Trump, the 23rd we were going to talk about, and then I had to scratch it out and say Keegan Aiken, the 24th. But Sanchez has made, they've used 5 catchers this year, and Mansolino said, look, we're not looking to use any more, at least for now. And the club record is 6, by the way, according to stats. 3 different times, most recently, I believe, in 1986. I think Rick Dempsey was involved in there somewhere. I don't know. But they have used 6, so they're 1 short of that. So they kind of dodged a bullet there. He will DH tonight, and Jacob Stallings will make his first Orioles start. And, David Benuelos is on the taxi squad constantly and still can't get back onto the roster. Maybe he's 6. Maybe Samuel Basallo ends up being 6 or 7th. I have a feeling they're not done yet.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, and we have seen fans, we have seen all of your comments waiting for Samuel Basallo, but look, they've said it time and again, they really don't want to have a prospect that they're rushing for the team's sake. They want a guy like that to really be fully developed and ready to go, and I know that we can appreciate that. And let's just keep it on the injury list here. It's Tony's favorite time with all of us, but tougher news again for Jorge Mateo this time, who was supposed to be in a rehab assignment.
Yeah, it was supposed to be for an elbow, and then it ends up being a hamstring, and he's trying to beat out a ground ball. And we're told a moderate strain, which, I'm not a doctor. I thought that's pretty good, but apparently it's worse than a mild strain. So we're talking about 8 to 12 weeks, which kind of matches what we had heard about Ryan Mountcastle. And because it happened when it did, it makes you wonder if he's played his last game, not just this season, but maybe with the Orioles, if we look too far ahead, because you're talking a couple months. And if he's at least ready for baseball activities, and he's going to have to go through a hitting progression, go back on another rehab assignment. We're getting into September. So we don't know yet, but that's, it's hugely disappointing, obviously, for him coming back from the elbow surgery. The Orioles, he hasn't hit much again this year, but they love the speed and the defensive versatility. And that's another guy that ends up, staying on the injured list now. Certainly Luis Vasquez has made out pretty well from this. If there's somebody who's benefited, strangely, it's a guy who barely plays, I think he's had like 9 plate appearances or something, but he's faced 11 batters as a pitcher. This is crazy. He's got 3 1/3 scoreless innings in 3 appearances. So good for him. He's actually become a weapon. He got it 1 out last night that he needed on 1 pitch. It was a 33-mile-an-hour slider. We're just going to assume that that's actually what it was. I don't know if he actually throws a slider. That's how it was identified. So they have used, I believe it's 5 times now that they've had position player pitch, and the club record is 7 in 2019. A lot of things happened that year. So they're approaching that one. And I think he's going to go for Stevie Wilkeson's record for appearances, which I believe is 4. So, this has kind of worked out well for him. He's kind of carved a niche now, and he's here because Mateo's out. But the fact that he's become so valuable as that, emergency pitcher could keep him around even longer, even though I know Mansolino and all managers hate having to do that.
Yeah.
But it is a rule, 8-run lead or deficit, you can bring in the position guy and try and save your bullpen.
And listen, we've seen Kike Hernandez deployed so many times with Dave Roberts and the Dodgers this year. We're not the only ones. You'll appreciate this. I walked up to him today at the cage. I said, all right, let's talk about your pitching. And it just caught him so off guard. He started laughing, and he said, look, I'm just trying to keep it free and easy. I said, you're going for the big break. He said, absolutely, that's what we're going for. So he's figured out the eephus curve, the slider, whatever you want to call it. All right, Roch. Well, it's so nice to have you, again, mile high in the sky here, but sharing a little time with us today.
Thank you.